Hey everyone, how are you all doing today? Welcome back to Fanatic Sports. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more NFL content in your life. Now, let's move on to today's video. To win Offensive Player of the Year means you were the best player on offense that season. Michael Thomas, Patrick Mahomes, Todd Gurley, and Matt Ryan are the most recent winners. The award is more of a stat-driven award than the MVP award, but since the MVP most likely has insane stats, they could end up winning it as well, like Mahomes in 2018, Matt Ryan in 2016, and Cam Newton in 2015. Since it is a stat-driven award, the players who break records will most likely end up with this award at the end of the season. Most players who have won the award have only won it once, except for a couple of people like Tom Brady and Marshall Faulk, who had won it 3 years in a row. I feel like it is a running back-driven award, as in the past 20 years, a running back has won it 10 times, compared to a wide receiver who has only won the award once, being Michael Thomas. I feel it is harder for wide receivers to win because voters will most likely look at quarterbacks of the league, more specifically the MVP, and just vote for them due to the MVP bias. Or we look at the running back who had 17 touchdowns over the receiver with 120 catches. Now today, I'll be talking about and explaining my top 5 candidates for Offensive Player of the Year. Let's get straight into it. At the number 5 spot, I have Dalvin Cook. This is if he plays next season due to his holdout for a new contract. Early last season, he was the favorite to win the award. Although he did not end up winning it, he still had a great season, playing 14 games, 250 carries, 1,135 yards, 519 receiving yards on 63 catches, and 13 total touchdowns. I have him at 5 because I feel as if next season, with Stephon Diggs gone and replaced by a rookie, Cook will need to carry more of a workload than last season, potentially seeing close to or over 300 carries. I could see him easily passing over 1,300 yards and 15 touchdowns if he gets that workload, which would at least put him in contention for the award. But I could also see him getting over 70 catches with a chance Justin Jefferson is not that good his rookie year, and Kyle Rudolph just falling off due to age. Except against the Saints in overtime, which, yes, that was a push-off. Cook is one of, if not the most explosive back in the league, as last season he had 60 first downs rushing and 26 receiving, as well as 596 yards after contact, and uses his speed to get past everybody in the league. He also had 11 breakaway runs, which means runs over 15 yards according to playerprofiler.com, which placed for 8th in the league, as well as placing 4th in the league with 86 evaded tackles. If it were not for injuries his whole career, he easily could have won Offensive Player of the Year by now, but hey, injuries happen to everyone, especially running backs. With an improved O-line and a potentially worse wide receiver core, Cook should expect more touches, and with his explosiveness, should be able to put up crazy numbers that will at least make the voters look at him. For the 4th spot, I have last year's winner, Michael Thomas. Last season when he won, he put up 149 catches, 1,725 yards, and 9 touchdowns. I don't see him repeating with those numbers or similar numbers for a multitude of reasons. One, in the past 20 years, he's the only wide receiver to win. You can extend that to the last 27 years, where Jerry Rice won in 1993. So it is already difficult for him to win as a wideout, never mind 2 in a row. Also, I don't believe he'll get the similar stats because of the addition of Emmanuel Sanders and a potential fully healthy Alvin Kamara, who will both take touches from Thomas as they both are elite at their position. Maybe not so much Sanders with his age, but he still is good. Michael Thomas is a great wide receiver. I believe he's the 3rd best in the league, but also I feel as if he will not get open as much next season, as he will most likely be double covered on every route he runs. So basically a slant. Just kidding, but really that's all he does. Next season I could see him still putting up crazy numbers like 120 to 30 catches, 1,500 to 1,600 yards, but I do not think that will win you Offensive Player of the Year, as most like a running back, quarterback will have better numbers in their own statistics, and overall just be a more valuable offensive player to their team. To stop talking negative about Thomas, he still comes in number 4 just due to the sheer fact that he will get the most targets and reception in the league, kind of like Jarvis Landry and the Dolphins, and will still dominate opposing team secondaries for 8 catches and 100 more yards a game on average, but I do think that there will be better players than him next year. On to number 3. At number 3, I have an obvious choice in Patrick Mahomes. He is the best player in the league, except maybe Aaron Donald. Next season, I think anyone can see him putting up 40 touchdowns and 5,000 plus yards, and there really is not an argument to have him outside of the top 3 for any offensive award in the league. He's just that good. He's the most talented quarterback I've ever seen play, so I expect him to put up the numbers and be valuable, quote, enough to his team to where he can win the award. I see him being the most outstanding offensive player next season, with the way he evades pressure, finds insane angles and places to throw the ball, and him just having a cannon of an arm. Although I said he could put up 40 touchdowns or 5,000 yards, I expect around 35 touchdowns and a couple rushing added on to that, as well as around 4,500 yards passing. He's my pick to win MVP, which is also a reason why he's high in this list, because the MVP bias, it makes the MVPs have a high chance of winning Offensive Player of the Year. However, the two awards are not the same. One is given to a player that is most valuable to the team's success, and the other just given to the most outstanding player on offense. Mahomes just existing could win Offensive Player of the Year in his sleep, and although I do not expect him to, he still has a really high chance of doing so. Now, time to move on to the second spot. At number 2, I have a little bit of a surprise with Julio Jones. Although wide receivers rarely win the award, I firmly believe that Julio next season will be great. He's one of the most talented receivers I think anyone's ever seen or watched tape on. His routes are crisp, his hands are incredible, and he's insanely fast for someone at his size at 6'3", 220. He also catches every jump ball while only having the 98th best catch radius according to PlayerProfiler.com. And then last season he had 99 catches, 1,394 receiving yards, and 6 touchdowns. As I said in my wide receiver rankings video, Julio never really gets the touchdowns, while last season having 12 red zone targets, which puts him at 7th in the league in that regard. Besides that, he is still the best receiver in the league in my opinion. His whole career he has dominated every corner he has played against, and I have him at number 2 due to his immense talent, but I expect him to have a historic season next year with over 1,500 yards and 8 touchdowns. He could easily win the award if Matt Ryan has a bounce back year. You know, he was not awful, but not near as good as his MVP season or even 2018. There's no reason to expect Julio to not do better next season than he did last season, maybe even the season prior when he had 1,677 yards. That's how good he is. And to conclude that, Julio at number 2, just because he's just Julio Jones. Now, on to my winner. At number 1, I have what I believe to be the obvious choice in Christian McCaffrey. The man was snubbed of the award last season as he put up 1,387 rushing yards, 1,005 receiving yards, and 19 total touchdowns, tied for first in the league with Aaron Jones. Only 2 players in NFL history have accomplished the feat of 1,000 and 1,000, being Marshall Faulk and Roger Craig. With those numbers, he should have won Offensive Player of the Year, but I guess the voters thought that Michael Thomas was the more outstanding offensive player. McCaffrey will potentially put up 1,000 and 1,000 again, as the team has a much better offense with additions of Robbie Anderson and Teddy Bridgewater. Anderson will take some of the pressure off of DJ Moore and Christian McCaffrey and allow for McCaffrey to get more touches as teams will have to respect the passing game more, now that they have a competent wide receiver too. No disrespect to Curtis Samuel, but I see him more as a Tavon Austin type of gadget player. However, I can also see the additions hurting him. I can see him not getting 1,000 receiving yards because he most likely will not have 143 targets again. Although he could go for 1,000, I see him going for about 1,400 rushing and 700-800 receiving on around 100 receptions and about 12 to 16 touchdowns. I feel like putting up those numbers with the improved offense will show voters that he truly is the best offensive player in the league, which I think is just obvious at this point in his career, showing what he has done. The only thing that can hold him back is his subpar offensive line, but we have seen him do great with that same offensive line, so it really is not a big factor for him, and his explosive play as he simply plays at a different speed than everyone else in the football field. He's clearly the most versatile player on the offense side of the ball, with Lamar Jackson coming in at a close second. However, I'm saying it now, Christian McCaffrey will win Offensive Player of the Year. And with that being said, guys, that is all from me. Thank you for tuning into Fanatic Sports. Hope you all liked the video, and if you did, please hit the subscribe button and the like button. It takes 2 seconds to hit each. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all have a wonderful day.